Welcome to Egg Money Quilts. I'm Eleanor Burns. I'm visiting Mangini Winery in Julian, California. Well, there's plenty to do here. Tending to the vineyard, harvesting the grapes, and making the wine. In the 1930s, this ranch would have been the perfect place for a destitute family to settle down and make an honest living. Well, many Dust Bowl farmers packed their families into cars or trucks and tied their few possessions onto the back and headed to work in agricultural fields and cities of the West. It was the largest migration in American history. By 1940, 200,000 found themselves on the road to California. Well, this is the Road to California quilt. It's just an old quilt with patchwork blocks set together with solid background squares, and it feels wonderful. It's amazing how bright the quilt has remained, unlike the American dream where hopes were dimmed. Now this pattern shows crossroads and byways. It's just crisscrossing across the block. It's the flying geese patch, a symbol of flight. And then there's more scrappy flying geese around the border. I just love it. In the flight to get to the better life in California, American family cars were their homes. Oh, they were made of a draped old quilt, barrels, pieces of pine, busted tires, anything they could find along the roadside. And after struggling along in their old vehicle, many found themselves turned away at the California border or were forced to follow the crops for wages from 75 cents to $1.25 per day. Well, I don't want to dash your hopes. I have a very easy way to make flying geese patches. Join me, and I'll show you how. We are on a journey today to make the perkiest flying geese patches that you have ever seen. Now, this is the Road to California block in Sampler 2. And this block finishes at 18 inches. Now, all of the blocks are different sizes in Road to California. For instance, the Peony block is 24 inches. The Christian Cross is 9 inches. Somehow it all fits together. Well, this is Sampler 1, and all of the blocks in this quilt finish at 12 inches. Here's Road to California right here. There are 3 geese in 4 different sets that point into the very center, and then it finishes off with background squares. Well, Road to California is also known as Crossroads. That's a good one. And also stepping stones. It's perfect. Well, we are going to work. I selected a yellow apron in honor of those yellow geese we're going to put together. Now, I have a very unique technique to show you. We're going to make 4 geese out of 2 squares and square them up with a very special ruler. Okay, this is the 12-inch block. This is for Sampler 1. And these geese, this is the yellow geese with the purple sky. These geese finish off at 1.5 by 3 inches. Well, to make the 1.5 inch by 3 patches, we need to have 2 sizes of squares. This is a 4.5 inch square, and the larger one is a 6-inch square. Those 2 are set to go. Now, this is the 18-inch block for Sampler 2. 2 different sizes of squares as well, so that we can make patches that finish at 2-inch by 4-inch. Well, it's tricky. This one is 5.5, and the background one is 7. Now, it doesn't matter if you're going to do the 12-inch or the 18-inch. The technique with the 2 squares are identical. Just take the smaller square, flip it right sides together, and get it centered right on that larger square. I like to use the 45-degree line on my ruler. Help me out and get that centered. So for this step, you have to turn your ruler upside down and line it up on the side. Now, if you can hit all 4 corners of those 2 squares, you are in good shape. So once you have that center, just draw a line from corner to corner. 2 pins will do it for you. Put one on each side. Now I'm using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and 15 stitches to the inch, or a 2.0 on my computerized machine. So I just want to drop that 1/4 inch foot. There's a line, there's a bar on it. I'm going to put it right on the line. Line up that edge. And once I've gone down one side, I'm at the bottom. I'm just going to turn it around and put the bar the second time on the line. And so by the time I'm done stitching, the two distances, the distance between those two lines should be a 1/2 inch. Let's just check it out. See how I'm doing today. And just drop my ruler on there. Ooh, that is looking pretty good. All right. Now, once I have my stitching done on both sides of the line, we're going to cut it. Just line up your ruler, cut on the pencil line. And now we're going to press. Now, this is the good part. You take and you drop the larger triangle on the top. Now, it doesn't matter if it's dark or light. It matters about the size. It's always the larger triangle. So I'm just going to set those seams, press them open. Do it with the second one and get it done. Oh, it is beautiful. I know why the women love to use these bright colors during the Depression. I'm sure it just made them feel really happy. Well, they're very strange pieces, but now I'm going to place them back right sides together again. I'm going to put the yellow against the purple on both sides. The best part is that I don't need to match those seams, no matching, but you line them up on the outside edges. And then once you have them lined up around the outside, you have these goose tails hanging out right here. Well, then grab a ruler and draw a second diagonal line, corner to corner. Just going to go up and down, looking good. And once more, how about some pins on both sides? Now, there are seams underneath and on the top, so that you don't flip your seams. I like to use the stiletto right now and hold with the stiletto on one side of the seam and then on the second side of the seam. Doing exactly the same thing. I have that bar on the line. I'm at the bottom. I'm just going to zip it around, drop it the second time, hold those seams flat. What? We're nearly done. We are going to have 4 geese out of this, and you have to repeat this step a total of 3 times to get your 4 geese. That makes sense if you know your math. Okay, one more cut on the line. Pull out those pins. You open it up to check it out. Go, oh my gosh, I've goofed, but never that much. But simple. If you turn it like this, you've got a goose there and one there. So what I want to do is just fold this wrong sides together so I can just make a clip here to press the seams in opposite directions. Okay, just hold this up. The yellow one is the goose. Just press right in there, turn it around, press it. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to use the ruler, and I want to square it to the 2 inch by 4 inch finish geese. So I'm just going to slide that right in there. Oh, it's perfect. And with my rotary cutter, just cut one and just cut down the second one. Okay, I trimmed 2 sides. I still have this side and this side left to trim. So I'm going to just tip up the ruler but not turn the patch. And just line it up one more time. Put the red line across the bottom. Oh, got perfect 1/4 of an inch seam there. Gonna trim across here and across here. Oh my gosh, they are looking good. Well, I'm gonna go ahead, finish squaring up all of these patches, and then I'll show you how to sew it together. I squared up all 12 of my patches, and as I told you, they're very perky. Now, this is what you want. You want to have that 1/4 inch seam from the point up to the top. That's your 1/4 inch seam right there. And then the other 2 edges, see, the seam goes right into the corners here and here. That's absolutely perfect. Now, I'm ready for assembly line sewing these stacks together. Well, I have 3 geese in a row, so I put 3 geese in a row, and I have 4 different rows. So in each stack, I have 4 geese. Now, whenever you take an assembly line sew, you always take the middle row, flip it to the left. And whenever you do that, you can see you have that perfect seam just lined up. You're going to just stitch right across there. Be very perky from the front side. Let me just take these 2 stacks, put them right beside my needle. I've got the first piece right sides together. Just put it underneath your sewing machine. Use that same 1/4 inch seam. And if you have needle down, go ahead and use it. Have some threads hanging out in the back so that you can get this whole thing started. Now I like to use my stiletto to keep the patches all lined up. So right here, hold the seams down and flat so when you stitch over them, you don't twist them. And just keep on going right through these first 2 stacks. Assembly line sew one behind the other. Well, I've read a lot about the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, and you know the most important tool in the kitchen was the shovel. They literally had to shovel the dust out of the kitchen. Can you imagine? Well, I heard about a family that whenever the dust hit, they all ran to their basement. And when they came back upstairs, the only edible food in their kitchen was a bowl of muffins. The mother had covered the muffins and put them in the oven. And those were the only things they could eat. Oh my gosh. And when the kids would set the table, they would have to turn their plates and cups upside down, and when they actually sat down to eat and turned their cups right side up, there would be a ring underneath and just dust all over the table. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? That doesn't sound pleasant at all. Okay, no wonder they quilted. I would quilt. Well, I have these assembly lines sewn, and you can see how the point just goes right up into the base. It's perfect. I've got 4 in a row. All I need to do now is just go ahead and assembly line sew the 3rd patch onto all 4 of them. Well, of course, I have 1 set all done, ready to go on. Once you have them sewn together, then press them from the wide base towards the point. And then lay out your block. Well, this is the 12-inch block, the 12.5-inch block. Finish size is 12. I'm going to take the very center. Now this is supposed to be 3.5 inches, and it is. It's perfect. The geese were 3.5 inches. They'll finish at 12. So lay those 4 patches around the center, and then the corners, the background squares, are 5 inches. So the length of your geese all sewn together should be 5 inches. Ooh, that looks good. Now, how about just take a look at this 18-inch, because the very center should be 4.5, and these squares should be 6.5 inches. All right, let's sew this vertical rows together. When I do vertical rows, I always take the middle row and flip it to the left so that I can just sew continuously right down along there. Let me just pull this nice and close so we can get that all lined up. You know, those poor farmers, not only did they have the dust to contend with, but they also had the heat. They would go to bed at night, be so hot that they would literally dampen their sheets. So they went to bed under cool, damp sheets. And when they would wake up in the morning, the dust stuck to the sheets, and they would just be like hard, dust-covered sheets that just unbelievable how they could ever get them clean again. Okay, I'm on the middle row. I'm just assembly line sewing through, and then I have 1 more row, 1 more set to add on. Now, you don't clip these apart. You leave them all chained together. It's just like using pins to get them all lined up. Use your stiletto to make sure you keep those seams nice and flat. Looking good. Okay, let me see. Open them up. This is perfect. whenever you sew this seam right here, see how that catches the point right there? And then over here on this side, catches the point exactly. You can see it on the right side. Well, all I need to do is just add one more vertical row. You just flip it like this and sew straight down across. And then when you go back across the other way, you push your seams towards the background square. Let me show you this one from the wrong side. See how nice and flat they lay? The seams are always pushed towards the background square, right here in the very center, because they're going to the background square and to the center square. These seams lock together. Well, why don't you just get your blocks done for your sampler, and then I'll show you how to make the ruffle on the pillow. I used contemporary fabric so you could see how your Road to California block would look on your couch. Now, each set of geese, I used different fabrics so you can get tons of beautiful prints into this. And then right in the corners, I used large scale roses. Beautiful. Has the framing border around it, the 1 3/4 inch border. And then this is a mock double ruffle. The first piece is actually a 3.5 inch piece. And then you put a 4.5 inch piece that just wraps right around the front. You see that little touch of color. Ooh, it's just so much fun. I hope you make a bunch so you're very comfy on your couch. We'll start out with 4 3.5 inch strips and 4 4.5 inch strips. Piece those strips together so you have great big long strips. Those short seams are right here. And then once you have 2 sets of long strips, take them and sew them right sides together. Then fold them wrong sides. The 2 strips are wrong sides together. This is the back of the ruffle, and then it just peeks around about 1/2 inch in the front so you can just see a touch of it. Well, I'm going to show you a technique of gathering with a string, and I have the best foot to use. It's one that has 3 little holes in it, and I just ran this heavy string right through the middle hole. It's a snap-on foot, so I'm just going to snap that in place. Ooh, I've got all kinds of threads here. Hopefully nothing is going to get stuck. Okay, I set my machine for a wide zigzag. It's number 3 width and 2.0 stitch length. It's not a real long stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to drop my foot, line up with the edge, hold on to the string, and then whenever you start stitching, the zigzag just goes back and forth over the string, doesn't catch it. I don't know how many times I have sewn and have lived in fear that I was just going to catch that string. So it's really easy to do. Use needle down if you have it. Well, you just keep on going until you go the whole way around your ruffle, and then cut your threads. Leave your strings. Oh, I've got it. You're going to see how that's going to just gather up beautifully. So take this and divide it into 10 equal parts. Your seam will be 1 part, and then just the half of the strip in the middle will be the second part. Divide it into 8 equal parts, and then start pinning your ruffle to your pillow. The middle part, the seam, goes right in the very center, and then the middle of the strip will go on the corners. And then just grab hold of that string. Let me see if I can get hold of this one. All right, hang on, I'm gathering it up. So you just work 1/8 at a time, gather up your string until you get it nice and even. Work with it, and then lay it flat and pin it in place, and then just stitch around the outside. Well, the back comes from 2 pieces that are 13 inches by 19 inches long, and hem one side on both of them. And then just take them with your pillow nice and flat, then place 1 right sides together to it, and pin that down. The second piece gets overlapped right in the very center. You'll pin that down as well, and then stitch right around the outside edge so that you can turn your whole pillow over a 20-inch pillow form. I like to use one just a little bit bigger than the pillow so it's nice and fluffy around the outside edge. Well, why don't you just go for the gold and enjoy making your Road to California block. In the 1900s, families gathered around the radio to hear Fibber McGee and Molly, The Guiding Light, and Gangbusters. Well, there was no TV to watch, so women had to keep their hands busy while they listened. Needlecraft. The magazine of Home Arts printed this on their cover in April 1930. It's called The Bicycle Girl of 1900, and she certainly looks peaceful, sitting on her front porch with a needle in her hand. No driving in rush hour traffic with a cell phone in her hand. Much better. Well, for nearly any type of handiwork, the stitcher needed floss. Well, I found this floss box from the American Thread Company from Fall River, Massachusetts. Well, the American Thread Company dates back to 1850. This box had 240 skeins of silking art thread inside, guaranteed fast colors. Now, this says star threads for embroidery. Well, most of this floss is new, but this is Old Star 6-strand embroidery floss. It's just beautiful. Well, hand stitchers organized their floss with this floss stand. Well, they would just clip the floss and drape individual colors over these pegs. And then when they needed a certain color, they would just pull it off. Oh, it's great to be organized. I wish I were. Well, I found this article in another Needlecraft magazine. The article is called So Smart by Helen Alda. Now, she wrote, I wish I had something to embroider. Just some small piece I could pick up now and then to work on. Well, she suggested cross stitch. She said, it's staging a revival. Well, for my aunt, cross stitch has never lost its popularity. I sent my aunt this old cross stitch kit from Paragon Needlecraft. It was quilt number 01111, traditional. Now, the lines were stamped on white percale. Well, this is how beautiful the quilt came out. My Aunt Ann, now she's my cousin Carol Ann's mother, absolutely loves to cross stitch. Well, she sits for hours at night and does this meticulous work. And once she cross stitched the quilt, then I set it out to the Amish and they hand quilted it. It is just beautiful. Take a look. Love it. Well, here is a picture of Ann with her sister. That's my mom, Irma, in the 1940s. Two sisters looking so cute. Their hats are fantastic. Well, this is just a gorgeous tablecloth with cross-stitch roses around the outside edges. It's beautiful, too. Now, the cross-stitch pattern was printed on the tablecloth, and the edges were already finished, so it was easy to do. Just a lot of Fibber McGee and Molly. So fun. Well, I also love to cross stitch, and this is the sampler I finished in 1987, and it's still not in a frame. Well, at least I signed and dated it. Pretty good. Well, I plan to make a second one so I can leave one for each son someday. Well, the second way Helen referred to was embroidery. It's easy, she said. Look at the red birds. Oh, they're wonderful. She described embroidery as exceptionally swank. Such a word. Well, she said, no one can have too many dresser scarves, if you ask me, she said. Now, this is just a lovely tablecloth with beautiful crocheted edge around. The work is incredible. Well, I found this. It was in this box just like this with a note that said, already done and ready to put together. It's a basket. It's copywritten in 1924. It has beautiful basket work, and then it has all these little patches that go around it. It is just lovely. Someday I'll have to put this together, too. Amazing. Well, I found my mother's stitchery in her cedar chest. It says, home sweet home. I guess I'm just like my mother because she didn't get hers framed either. You know, mothers do make our homes just warm and comfortable with all the handwork they do. Make your home warm with your quilting.